Hey guys, welcome back to Entrepreneurship. Today is a really exciting day because it is actually my 7-year anniversary that I'm recording this on. This will come out a few days later, but 7 years since I started my agency. While I'll be the first to say that I feel so far from fully figuring it out, I want to be intentional today and I wanted to reignite some of my spark that I feel like has dulled a little bit lately. So I challenged myself to think about the 7 biggest lessons or shifts these last 7 years have taught me. So it's not going to be a highlight reel because that's never what entrepreneurship was, has been, is going to be. Instead, it's going to be real shifts and real lessons that have come out of the last 7 years, not just for the business, but also how I've stretched and grown as a person because of it. So let's get into it. Shift number 1, your business will not evolve in a straight line. And that's actually the point. I think most of us come into entrepreneurship assuming that it won't be easy, but we're also woefully unprepared for how nonlinear it is because you will have seasons where everything clicks and then out of nowhere, something shifts and you're right back into that uncertainty, that doubt, that like, oh my gosh, do I even know what I'm doing? And it can feel like you're going backwards when really you're just turning a corner that you might not have seen coming. And if I'm being fully honest, I feel like I've been navigating this corner for a while now, so I will be the first to tell you that I get it. But here's what I've come to believe. The people that choose this path, we're wired for it. Whether it feels like we are or not, because I have those days where I do not feel wired for it, but we naturally gravitate towards challenges and building things as evidenced by building a business. And we tend to get restless when things get a little bit too settled. So while navigating that messy middle isn't always necessarily fun, we all know that deep down it beats the alternative that we could be doing. And now I'm kind of speaking to myself here, but when you are in a more challenging season, I hope that you remember that diamonds are built from extreme pressure. And no, you're not doing anything wrong. In fact, I think these shifts oftentimes help us create something stronger, more meaningful, more beautiful, more fulfilling. But also, if you need a good cry and a long hug throughout it, like we are one in the same, my friend. Shift number 2, there are all sorts of different seasons in your business and each of them has their own unique gifts. This one actually took me a while to come around to because obviously the busy seasons, while they're overwhelming in their own right, they are easier to fall in love with and like feel good about yourself because they feel productive, they feel exciting, you feel like you're actually doing things. You oftentimes have the external success that you're hoping for. But then we also have the quieter ones, the ones where you're pivoting, the ones where you can really feel uncomfortable. And what I've learned to pay attention for is that every season has a gift if you're willing to look for it. So the slow ones usually have space and clarity inside them. And honestly, that's where I tend to really work on the business and iron things out and get my processes smarter and more efficient and all of that stuff. But then also the busy seasons ask us to pay attention to what actually matters. What do we want to be doing? Are we running ourselves rampant for no reason? So truly, every season does have a gift. And because of that, I've been intentional in trying to savor each and every one of them, and not in a toxic positivity way, just in a what does this season have for me type of way, because each one of them has shaped who I am and how I move now. Shift 3. If you don't like your day to day, it's time to change it fast. And this one's personal because when I first, they're all personal, but when I first started the agency, I accidentally built a mini corporate job for myself. So I was starting at my desk at 8 a.m., working straight through till 5, barely taking breaks, completely beholden to my computer. And I hated every single minute of it because the irony is I left a traditional job because I didn't want to live that way. And then I recreated it for myself. So the first shift was building a day-to-day structure that actually worked for me, one that I actually enjoyed. But what I've learned since then is that this isn't a one-time fix, it evolves. And so what worked for me 2 years ago doesn't necessarily work for me anymore because life looks so different now. The business has changed, my priorities have changed, where I've lived has changed. And so now when I notice that ping and like that feeling of something's off and a little bit too constricting, a little bit too heavy, I don't wait anymore. I switch things up before it turns onto that full-on frustration and burnout oftentimes, because for a lot of us, our business is our life. So we might as well make sure we're actually enjoying the life that we are living inside and out of it. Shift number 4. And I think you all know this, but entrepreneurship is personal development on crack. And that's one of the hardest parts, because I say this all the time and I like sincerely mean it. Running a business will show you every edge, every pattern, every place you're still playing small or hiding or overcomplicating, and every single doubt that you have in yourself, because it just holds up a mirror to you in a way that nothing else really does, because it's asking you to put yourself out there in a way that you've never had to put yourself out there before. And so it's uncomfortable, but also because of it, I am a completely different person than I was 7 years ago. And honestly, like I'm a completely different person than I was a year ago, probably even 3 months ago, like the end of 2025 versus now, entirely different person. But how I think, how I communicate, how I go after the things that I really want, how I ask for help, how I've gotten better at filling the gaps instead of kind of white knuckling to like power through and figure things out, that didn't happen because things were easy. It happened because of both the big and little challenges that forced me to shift and evolve. So again, and I know it like sounds like I'm talking to myself because I am in a funky season right now. But if you are in a season right now where it just feels like, oh my gosh, this is like really making me look at all these uncomfortable things, and like the personal work that's coming from my business is outpacing the business work, just a reminder, you're doing great, sweetie. Shift number 5, surround yourself with the people who've done what you aspire to do. And I am insanely intentional about this one because, first of all, if they create it for themselves, it means it's actually possible for you, full stop. And we all could use that reminder, and like not in a motivational poster kind of way, but like in a neuroscience backed way, because if I can see it, then I can also believe it for myself. Though also I will say, going back to the last shift, I will be the first one to list off every limiting belief that I've like ever run up against and still run up against now. So if hearing that made you think something along the lines of like, well, of course they can do it, but I can't, then that's also an invitation to like, we got some more work to do, but that's okay. And the second part of this, and this one's really important, is I only take advice and listen to people that I actually aspire to be like, who aren't just successful on paper, but whose businesses and lives actually look like something I genuinely want to live. Because everyone else, with love and light, I tune out, because there is no shortage of opinions when it comes to building and scaling and evolving and growing your business. So I have a simple filter. Do I want what they have? If yes, I'm listening. If no, thank you, next. And if you don't have people like this in your immediate circle right now, that's where networks, masterminds, group programs are so genuinely valuable, because it's not just the content that you're getting out of them. It's really the company, the community. Shift number 6, build a community of vision holders around you. And this one is related to the last shift, but it goes a little bit deeper, because your vision holder could totally be the same people that inspire you, but it can also, and I hope it is, the people who are closest to you. So your family, your friends, your partner. And like, real story about this about my mom. When I first started the business, she was worried about it. And also like by proxy me every single day. And like, it's understandable. I get it. But that also made me worry way more than was probably healthy. So in that first year, I not so subtly trained her on what I needed from her. And one of the biggest things was I needed her to be my vision holder, because she obviously knows how smart I am and how hard I work and how resourceful and scrappy I can be when I need to be. So on paper, she knew I have everything that I needed to be successful. And then for me, I've always been really focused on building a 7-figure business. But obviously in the day to day, like that's a wild path to go on. So we kind of met in the middle, and I told her where I was going, why I was going there, and helped bring her into the vision. And from then on, I like basically Pavlov dogged her, where every time I'd come to her a little stressed, like her automatic response became, it's okay. You're building your multi-million-dollar business. You're going to have days like this. And while it may sound silly, and even in the moments where I didn't fully believe it myself, like it's hard to not get that little extra pep in your step when the people who love you most continue to hold up that mirror for you. And honestly, these people are everything. So invest in finding them, invest in deepening the relationships with them, invest in bringing them into your vision, and be intentional in how you keep them close. And last but not least, shift number 7. You know what you need better than anyone else does. And don't you dare ever let yourself forget that. And I saved this one for last because I think it's the most important, because we live in a world that's constantly telling us it has the answers. It's 3 easy steps to this, the exact framework you need for that, the only strategy you'll ever need again. Like, we all have heard it time and time again. And obviously I'm not saying that none of that is useful, because sometimes it is. But what I've learned is that underneath all that noise, you already know what you need. So that could look like which help you need to seek out, which strategy actually fits your business and how you want to move through your business, which decision your gut has already made, even if your brain is still catching up. And I found that the more that I trusted that, the steadier things have felt. And then also here's a deeper piece to this, because once you make those decisions, you make that choice, you have to decide that it is the right choice, because we all know that post-decision waiver that can come. But when you really commit to it, no matter what happens, because we can't control that, you will always get something genuinely valuable out of it, because it will either be the result you were hoping for or the lesson that you couldn't have learned any other way. So there are no wrong turns when you are paying attention and when you are seeking the gold from everything that you touch or decide. So those are my 7 shifts from these past 7 years. And what's funny is when I sat down to write these, I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to think of any, but honestly, I could keep going. So I won't for now, but we can always talk about that over coffee in my DMs, or if you're a client, on a call. But these aren't a roadmap or framework like so many of my other episodes are, but they're what's actually true for me and what's actually helped me navigate knowing the difference between what matters and what's just noise. So if any of this landed for you, I genuinely love to hear about it. DM me, leave a comment, send a carrier pigeon. I mean it so sincerely when I say I want to be talking with you guys, not just at you on here. So regardless of whatever season you're in, regardless of where you are in your business, or if you don't even have a business and you're just tuning in to support, I hope that this episode gave you a little bit of breathing room. I hope it felt like a sigh of relief, because you are building something real. You're doing better than you think, and you have absolutely got this. I am sending you so much love and the tightest hug. And now I'm closing down. I got to go celebrate my 7 years with my mom, and I'll talk to you guys all next time.